the desire to transition from one career to another, having been done with one and wanting to move into something that had been on my mind for a while. But thinking of the pride and the pain is what I've been really reflecting on, Bernadette, because I don't know if we said that in our conversation when we were doing our podcast, but that I'd wanted to do the copywriting for about 5 years before I actually took the leap. So it took me 5 whole years to stay in a job that was no longer benefiting me personally, and was actually being quite destructive. It took me 5 whole years to take the leap. And you know, when I think about other people in a similar position, either that they want to start something in copywriting or they want to transition, it's often the fear that holds us back for way longer than it should, right? And I see a few smiles and a few nods from people there that have obviously been in a similar situation. So for me, the desire to be a copywriter was about harnessing my skills and using my skills as a writer and my passion for the written word and for communication, which I think has always demonstrated itself in teaching. But moving into a career, and obviously that's freelance now, but moving into a career that would give me the opportunity to grow, but also the opportunity to take back the control that I felt that I'd lost in teaching. And so a number of motivations there in making that change. But the thing that was the issue in holding me back was fear for a very long time. Oh gosh, well, I think that it's an age-old story, right? It's fear of failure, fear of ironically being seen, because I think you have to put yourself out there, and when you put yourself out there, you know, the old imposter syndrome kind of kicks in. You know, am I what I say I am? Can I do what I'm going to say I'm going to do? Can I deliver? You know, that whole thing about who does she think she is, this person who claims to be a businesswoman who starts their own business and writes for like, so it's a lot of those fears, but it was also very practical fears. Am I going to make ends meet? Am I going to take that leap, and am I going to crash and burn? And what is that going to feel like, and how is that going to look to other people who've kind of watched me take this step? So yeah, there's a lot that goes on, I think, in your mind, and I think those are the biggest battles that I've had, and they are the biggest wins that I've had as well. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it took me 5 years to actually make the leap, but I'd pretty much decided a year before I left the job that was what I was going to do. So I did spend that time really trying to make sure that I had some degree of savings behind me, not just as a buffer, but also knowing that starting a business is going to cost some money to get it up and running. So it was a difficult decision and an easy decision in the end, because the idea was to start as a side hustle, but I found that I had no time for any kind of hustle, for any kind of life, never mind a side hustle. So it was a case of, bless COVID, giving me the, you know, good old kick up the backside that made me kind of go, well, how do I want the next 5 years to look? How do I want the next half of my life to look? Do I want it to continue as it is, or do I want to change? If I want it to change, then I have to change. And I have to change by making that courageous decision. And if it fails, it fails. But I've given it a go. I can live with knowing that I've tried, and knowing that I can always go back to teaching or go back to whatever it was. But I always feel like life is a series of stepping stones. And so sometimes you just have to make that step in order to make the next one, and so on and so forth. So I liken it to the leap off the lion's head from Indiana Jones, you know, that bit where he throws himself off the what looks like an abyss, and he ends up on firm ground, and thankfully it was firm ground. Yeah, so I decided early on that I needed a solid foundation, but I also needed a solid foundation in terms of my work ethic. And part of the overcoming the fear was also about turning up every day. And so turning up every day would be things like getting organized. So business cards, getting my business cards sorted out, sorting out a business email, sorting out a website, learning how to network and joining some networking groups, making sure that I had templates in place for briefs and even email templates for clients. So I think once you've got all of your systems in place, and once you've got those things in place, you can then focus on the work. But I think that was really important for me in getting started, in actually doing those basics, but also celebrating those basics as wins. Because I think it can be easy to be overwhelmed by what needs to be done or where you want to go. And it's about bringing it back to some of those very fundamental basics, getting them under your belt, and actually feeling good about getting them under your belt. Because that overwhelm and the fear are the things that are often the things that hold us back the most. And to counteract that, you naturally need to celebrate what you are succeeding in and what you are producing, even if it is just the basics. Yes, I mean, that's always growing, but I think that's it's really important always just to make sure that you've got that you're not just hearing from connections, or you're being referred to people or anything like that, but that you keep those connections and those contacts as live contacts. So for me, it's not just about either getting a referral, it's about chasing up that referral. So whether that's someone that you meet when you're networking and you're getting a card, adding them to your contacts, but also making contact with them, being proactive with that, and also using those contacts to chase people up. So if people have inquired about something, but then that kind of lead has gone quiet, or to warm that up, or gone cold, to warm that up again. But I think it's also important to, when a job has been completed with a client, to then a few months down the line just send another message to them, or you can use those Excel spreadsheets or those contact lists to offer certain products or certain discounts if things are a little bit slow, just to kind of remind people that you are in business, and remind people of your quality work, and remind people that it's actually a joy to work with you, and what better way to work with you than a little sweetener of a little discount or something like that. It's not even just that person that you meet and that card that you get, it's their network behind them too. And I have met clients or certainly received leads and referrals through the individuals that I've met networking, because you don't know also the conversations they're going to have with other people in business who might be talking about wanting to create a website or update their website, and they need a writer, but they don't know who, and that person goes, oh, I've just met so-and-so last week, and let me put you in touch. And that has happened a number of times. So it's not just about the networking for meeting people that you think are going to be the clients, it's also in making sure that you engage everybody in conversation that you meet networking, because you don't know what impression you're going to make that's going to actually help you with their referrals as well. I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm a natural introvert, and so networking event does make me kind of twitch a little bit, and I think that there's certainly a skill to it, but I think generally speaking, networking is just about courage. And so when you meet people, yes, the people will ask you what you do, and it's very easy to just say, you know, I'm a copywriter for small businesses, for local businesses, and I specialize in whatever you specialize in. But actually, one of the things I have found has been valuable in making those connections is actually taking almost more of an interest in the other person. And the reason I say that is you can say who you are and what you do, but they will connect better with you if you're taking interest in them too. I think that's the start of a positive working relationship with someone, is that you're taking an invested interest in their business, their passion, and they will remember that. Perhaps even long before they might even remember your name, but they'll have your card. I have begged, stolen, borrowed, amended from a number of different places, but I have templates that I use for my creative briefs, and so that has lots of different things in there that explore not only the client and their business, but also tone of voice and things like that. But I also use some templates for EDMs that I've created in terms of some companies like things in a certain format, and so it's about, you know, where you're strategically putting your headings and things like that. So look, there's so much, like you say, there's so many resources out there in terms of templates, that it's very easy to make things your own, and it's very easy to rebrand them as your own, and so everything then just really looks quite schmick and professional. And I think that helps as well, because when you meet people and you come across as being quite jovial or gregarious, and also professional, then you want to be able to have those resources that also seem to that effect.